Thank you for joining us again and welcome back to EDUSPLORER. If you are joining for the first time, we appreciate your time. Here we talk geopolitics and how the continent of Africa engage strategic partners like the United States of America, European Union, Asian partners like China, India, and also Russia, including emerging Turkey, and Middle Eastern partners. Listen, folks, today I really want to show you why the United States of America has already made up its mind to basically engage the country of Iran. Forget about the 2 weeks or within 2 weeks what the US President, Mr. Donald Trump, is saying. It's not important. He can make a decision even tomorrow, even within the 2 weeks period. If you look at a leader in a country where he talks on both sides of his mouth and does not give any regards to his own national security agency, then you begin to understand why African nations are very worried and concerned with their strategic partnership with the United States of America. Because the US is not a confident partner. The US cannot say something. The United States of the years, who can provide intelligence, cannot. Because the double standard and the hypocrisy at the moment, it's amazing. If the intelligence does not favor the United States of America's own intention, it is wrong. But if it favors US's intention, then it means the intelligence is right. So African countries must pay attention, especially those in the Sahel and Africa's geopolitical consultant and expert. If the United States of America, considering the current geopolitical climate that we are, as Iran and Israel engaging each other, if Mr. Donald Trump cannot believe his own director of national intelligence, this is an important position in the United States of America. The intelligence is collated, put together, and she will rubber stamp it and inform the president of the state of affairs. And the president snubbed it and throw her under the bus and say that you are not correct. It is a red flag for other strategic partners from around the world, especially in the continent of Africa. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because we are at a critical time in the global geopolitical environment with the changes in the international economy, and Africa must pay attention. I want to show you what this particular director of the national intelligence once said about the country of Iran. Multiple agencies around the world, intelligence agencies, have said that Iran is not at that stage yet, as we've covered here. But the United States have made up its mind already to move forward with what they want to do. But first, let's play Tulsi Gabbard's presentation at the United States of America's Senate or Congress. Let's roll the clip.
So pretty dismissive there when asked by our own CNN, Caitlin Collins, about this. I want you to take a listen, though, to what exactly Gabbard had said back in March. Listen.
The IC continues to assess that Iran is not building a nuclear weapon, and Supreme Leader Khamenei has not authorized the nuclear weapons program that he suspended in 2003. Iran's enriched uranium stockpile is at its highest levels and is unprecedented for a state without nuclear weapons.
Having heard that, and for her occupying such a position, the United States of America's President, Mr. Donald Trump, came out first. Mr. Trump would dispute this twice. The first time he was asked in Air Force One, I think coming from Canada, he said this.
Toward Iran. Now, the president was pressed about this when he was flying back from Canada this morning back to Washington. And he was asked specifically about what his own director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, testified to in March, which is essentially that they were still far off from creating a viable nuclear weapon. Take a listen to what he told reporters.
How close do you personally think that they were to getting one? Because Tulsi Gabbard testified in March that the intelligence community said Iran wasn't building a nuclear weapon.
I don't care what she said. I think they were very close to having it.
Again, Mr. Trump was asked recently, in the past couple of hours, 48 hours ago, if what his own intelligence agency are telling him or what his own director of that particular agency is saying. And this is what Mr. Donald Trump said.
What intelligence do you have that Iran is building a nuclear weapon? Your intelligence community has said they have no evidence that they are at this point.
Well, then my intelligence community is wrong. Who in the intelligence community said that?
Your director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard.
She's wrong.
The problem here is that Iran was having this conversation with the country of the United States of America. And they were talking, having these talks, going on to an extent, couple of rounds. But they were taken unaware. And this is the problem we are talking about, trust in the geopolitical environment. Other experts say that maybe the country of Israel doesn't want the United States of America to show leadership in terms of negotiating this particular deal that talking about the Iranian nuclear process. But don't forget that it's the same Mr. Donald Trump who withdrew from that particular process, and he condemned it a couple of years ago. And now he's saying this. And he ran as a leader who said, I will bring peace in the world, I will end other conflicts. But he could not prove himself. The US has made up its mind. Simple. Let's listen to Mr. Sanders, one of the United States of America senator, who said this.
And now we face a dangerous and escalating war in Iran, which was begun in violation of international law by the extremist Netanyahu government. And the main point that I want to make today is that it is absolutely imperative that the United States not be dragged into this war. Let me say a word about how this war began. On Thursday, Netanyahu launched an illegal and unilateral surprise attack on Iran, bombing targets across the country and killing hundreds of people. Iran has responded with attacks of its own, which have killed dozens of people in Israel. Whatever you may think of the corrupt and authoritarian Iranian regime, Israel's attack clearly violated international law and the United Nations Charter. While every country has the right to defend itself, they do not have the right to launch so-called preemptive wars of this kind. But let's remember who Netanyahu is. He is a war criminal under indictment by the International Criminal Court for starving innocent people and killing civilians in Gaza. At this very moment, in Gaza, Israel continues to prevent the UN from delivering humanitarian aid.
The United States of America's media is even playing this as if it's a joke, because I think the global media is using this particular event to send some information out there that it influences the opinion in a number of people. And the United States of America is doing this a lot. And if you look at the Fox News, which is a popular channel that Mr. Donald Trump watches and he always talks on, commentators come up and start downgrading and sit in their comfortable rooms in the news circles and say things like this. Let's roll the clip quickly.
Absolutely. And look, diplomacy with this duplicitous partner sitting across the table from Donald Trump was never going to work. And we know that. We know what we're up against. When Donald Trump says they cannot have a nuclear weapon, when they're not conceding, when they're not going to come to the negotiating table, it only brings us to one conclusion. And that's the conclusion that we're seeing the Israelis run with. That's why we've seen Donald Trump pivot so much in the past week, because he's seeing if you want to be America first, if you want to have peace through strength, if you want to be a leader on the global stage, then you're going to allow Israel to do what it is doing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Oh, this is all the bluster that they're doing, and this is all they have left. They are desperate. They are isolated. Russia, China, even Hezbollah, their pet project where they gifted 150,000 missiles to, didn't come to their defense. So the only thing they have left is Khamenei's tweets on X and some bluster and to make empty threats, but they know that they have been weakened, they've been diminished. Look, every dollar that they have had from 46 years ago, they have put into terrorism, they have put into their proxies. And look, little by little, those the appendages of the octopus are being cut off, and we're getting to the head of the octopus, which is in Tehran. So their days are limited.
The Vice President of the United States of America, he already felt exhausted. He sees himself that the United States of America should be ready to engage, should move forward to do whatever they want to do. That diplomacy is done, is closed. Mr. J.D. Vance, doesn't even see any prospect of having any further talks to basically find a way to resolve this conflict. He came out and said this.
J.D. Vance in California on how long Trump will keep choosing diplomacy. Watch.
He's going to pursue diplomacy until he thinks that there isn't an opportunity. And once he decides that diplomacy has completely run its course, that we're not going to get anything out of additional talks, then I think the president is going to do what he needs to do to end Iranian enrichment and end that Iranian nuclear program.
I think the European partners are not making any particular effort in these regards, because considering the recent conversation that happened in Switzerland, where the European partners were conveying to the country of Iran, telling Iran that they will not allow any aspect of enrichment. I think that is where the problem is going to be, because Iran have also said that we're not going to have this conversation on that aspect. And they said they don't want to talk to the United States of America directly, because there's been that breakdown of trust between the country of Iran, Israel, and also the United States of America. So the Iranians are going to go back to talk to their own officials. European leaders have seen where the United States of America stands and the type of conditions that they are bringing. So Europe has no geopolitical strength here. They have no particular thing they can do. They just come together when it comes to immigration, and they have loose political leverage in the global space. That's why the United States of America dictates to Europe on how Europe should move. Not every European expert enjoys such a direction that the United States of America gives to Europe. So African countries must pay attention clearly of what's going on in Washington, because the United States is giving this 2-week period, if expert will be right, saying that it is a time for the U.S. to put certain facilities into place, to get ready, to ensure that the current devastation that we are seeing happening in the country of Iran and Israel.
Did the Europeans help at all in talking with the Iranians?
No, they didn't help. No. Iran doesn't want to speak to Europe. They want to speak to us.
Mr. President, the Iranian foreign minister this afternoon said if the U.S. is serious about negotiations, that you would call up Israel and request that they stop their airstrikes. Will you make that request?
Well, I think it's very hard to make that request right now. If somebody's winning, it's a little bit harder to do than if somebody's losing.
I don't think the United States of America will still see dialogue and talks to be something. So Mr. Donald Trump is ready. If you look at the dismissive way that he speaks at this particular time, he is ready to engage the country of Iran.
Lastly, the Iranian foreign minister on Israel's war crimes.
Israel attacks on nuclear facilities are grave war crimes. We were attacked in the midst of an ongoing diplomatic process. It was a betrayal of diplomacy.
So we all should be looking forward to what the next 2 weeks will be, if it will be 2 weeks. I want to thank you for watching. Why the countries of the Sahel should pay attention and note that they should go ahead and build strong partnerships and collaborations, because the United States of America has become, it's not a geopolitical partner that can be relied upon. I will be looking forward to meeting you soon in our next episode. Have a good day. Bye-bye.